Alright, plugging right along. I'm just showing you ideas on how to use these meshes. Again, keep having to mention it over and over. Yours is going to be looking different than mine. In fact, you can almost pretty much well bet that it's a requirement not to look like mine. What I hate is monkey see, monkey do. These are only ideas. They are not finite ideas. And you as a student need to reach into the creativity of your own brain and use these to the advantage that you can. Alright, looking good. Now the roof. Okay, the roof's going to be a bear, I won't lie. But since these pieces can be scaled quite nicely, dog Victor on the very end of these. Rotate them to like -90. These will never line up. Don't even try getting the brick to line up with the other brick. There are ways around that. We could build a transitional mesh that goes between the two meshes. I think they used to have signs in this area, saying, what the factory was all about. Alright, I'm going to hop into my front view. And I'll dog Victor this over, or Shift D it over. And then scale it in -X, I think. Yep. Okay, what's nice about this design is it can change. Let's say I need to go like this. So that one's on that end, this one's at this end. Well, I can scale these, and they should scale together quite nicely. Just like that. And it's very hard to get a very, very accurate scale. You're going to get close, and you're going to get very frustrated. But over here, don't forget, you could put like a -1. Well, this one you put a -1. And since we're in Maya, we can cheat a little bit and combine them. Grab the vertices and just take and scale them together. So that's a good way of cheating. You can only do that in Maya. You couldn't do that in the game engine. Shift D to duplicate this over to the other side. Modify center pivot. That's another thing the engine doesn't have. It doesn't have a center pivot. So, at all. Okay, so now we have that. We can match up our roof. I'll just dog Victor this into the corner. Victor this here. Try to get it on the end cap. Okay, dog Victor, snap it to this one. Victor, snap it to this. Get it within the general area and rotate. Jump into this front view and see if we can match the angle. I'll have this overhang just a little bit. If I go to scale it, it's going to scale to the local. So that means that I can scale it like this, and it makes sense. So I'll end up putting another one over on the other side and scaling that in Z. Now this is a little bit different because if I do that, you'll see it goes really wonky. In this case, I'm going to have to say modify freeze transformations, and then I can scale it -1 in Z, and it makes sense. So that's the difference between local transformation and global transformation. We needed a global transformation there. Okay, this is where wireframe comes in handy. Okay, that's overhanged. And these two need to meet. I can combine them together. Take their vertices and just kind of go like that. Again, that's not going to be possible in the engine, but it is possible here. And my hopes is that if I show students how to build like this in Maya, that they will be better at it when they get to world building, because right now I would say that needs to be helped quite a bit. Students aren't used to building like this. So I'm just duplicating this over and over. And then once I have it all the way to the end, I can then group that together. And then jump into my top view, go into 4 on my keyboard, and I'll look at lining this up and scaling it so it's even on both sides. Good. 6 on the keyboard, I get this now. The pillars, these rafters, go on the inside, and to start these, I think I have time with this video, so we can just about end this. Dog Victor to the end, rotate it this way, 90 degrees, sink that into the mesh, and just crawl onto the inside of the building and align it there. Alright, again, 4 on the keyboard's your best friend, and I can scale that so it's meeting onto that joint. Okay, Shift D to duplicate that and -Z it. Oops, that one's not -Z. This one's probably -1, or negative on this side. Yep. Okay, that looks pretty good, and I can either do it two ways. I can have these meet in the middle and have a beam, or have a beam that goes in the middle of it. I think I'm just going to escape out and say combine them, and go to the vertices and just scale them together. Modify center pivot and recenter the whole thing. So being that close, nobody's going to really see that the two meshes are not touching, but me being OCD, I'll have something like that. Alright. Okay, 4 on the keyboard, and what I like to do is use these to hide the seams. So I'll go like this, Shift D, and I'll put it right here, and then Shift D over and over. Hopefully there's enough pattern. And you're going to have to adjust these verbatim. Alright, and if we look on the inside now, we have such depth. I'll save this scene. And you'll see something like this occurring, where on the inside meshes, I might have to have something like a mid-wall. We'll create a mid-wall. I think that's a good idea. And a mid-wall might look something like this. On the inside meshes, I'll go like that and add the cement to it. We can switch textures. And now we have a whole new building block that can be used on the inside walls. Just as easy as that. Okay, just aligned all those. And that should get it out of the outside. And if I scale those together, just so they're not on the outside at all, I don't want any back face to occur, and then just have to finite adjust them. Something I should have done before, but it looks like it duplicated it over and over again. Alright, so you get the gist of it. The rule of the game is just to make this actual scene look 100% good with what you have. And you have those meshes, the ones that you texturized, and now you're building with them just like kind of like Legos. We need the inside to look just as good as the outside. And you're going to have to be very inventive when it comes down to using these. In this case, these need to be flipped around, this whole shell. This is something I should have looked at to begin with, and now it's going to haunt me throughout the design. So I'll have to hand fix all these. Alright, now let's move on to the next video, where we're going to kind of add a ground plane and then end the lesson with the idea we need to look at lighting. Alright, so meet you there.